week on Storyboard, Shireen Bhan, Managing Editor CNBC TV 18, catches up with Sir Martin Sorrell, CEO WPP at the World Economic Forum held in Davos. Mark Earl saw the herd mister speaks to us about his concept of herd, planning as a discipline and how planning has changed over the years. And if there is any Donald Trump-inspired satire that you should absolutely watch, it is this one, which we have on today's notice board. That satirical TV show Zondag has created a video which could be a perfect welcome for the newly inaugurated President of the United States of America.
Hello and welcome to Storyboard. This is Shivani Gharat. At the recently held World Economic Forum in Davos, Shireen Bhan, Managing Editor of CNBC TV 18, caught up with Sir Martin Sorrell, CEO WPP, and spoke to him about many things that will impact the world and his business. And like always, he had interesting perspective on Donald Trump, Twitter diplomacy, and many such other issues. Let's hear what Sir Martin has to say.
We're here in Davos with Martin Sorrell. Thank you very much for joining us.
As I was trying to say, tail end Charlie, we're demob happy, Shireen. We're finished.
You're finished?
Nobody believes that we're going to be exhausted at the end of a week in Davos or 3 or 4 days.
But you are.
We are, yes. You are as well, I think.
You've
had enough? I've had enough.
You've had enough of what? The conversation?
Too much talk, too little action.
Too little action. No, but, you know, the fact that we have Trump in the White House, yes, and the fact that Brexit is happening.
Not yet, I think
well, in a few hours.
In
a few hours from now. You know, these are symptoms. And we're having a conversation about the symptoms, but are we really having a conversation about the cause itself?
Well, I think, you know, if one listens to the analysis that, I mean, I suppose Steve Schwarzman and Scaramucci were the two key proponents of the new Trump regime, if you like, because there were no Trump transition team people here. But if you listen to, for example, what Schwarzman says about the president-elect and going to be president focusing on economic growth and jobs, that probably, and I would agree, I mean, he looks at the Obama administration and sees 1.8% compound growth rate in GDP. That's not enough. I mean, it's infinitesimally small in relation to what India is achieving, for example, and it shows in our numbers and everybody else's numbers. So when you think about that, that will create jobs, employment, and that's the key issue. We all know that if we get economic growth, same thing is true for India, you get more jobs, people are happy. You know, the technological risk or effect is, in fact, people here argue about whether technology creates more jobs than it destroys, and my view is it's a net destroyer of jobs. So that issue, so domestically in the US, maybe Trump is a good thing.
But what is giving investors confidence about the US story? Is it the fact that
tax rates down,
yes, but is it the fact
profits?
that you have Wilbur Ross as Commerce Secretary, you know, you have people who understand business, who have been proponents of free trade and globalization. So, you know, one argument is that the US is not headed into being an isolationist, that it's not necessarily going to be anti-free trade. It's just going to want to do more bilateral deals.
Net, I think Trump is clearly positive for the US domestic economy. The question is, what's going to happen internationally? That is totally unpredictable. We're in Al
Gore... So having a completely different foreign policy discussion here at Davos?
Well, Al Gore made the distinction between risk and uncertainty. Risk being something that you could sort of manage because you knew it. Uncertainty is about black swans. We're in the uncertain area on foreign policy for the US. So you've got this counterbalance. So best way of putting it, your gain on the US swings, I think, in the short term, I think 2 or 3 years' time we'll have an inflationary sort of Keynesian deficit-driven boom in the US. It certainly lasts for 2 or 3 years. And then internationally, it's much more unpredictable. Mexico, Russian relationships. I mean, the Russian economy domestically is not doing too badly, right? For foreign firms in Russia, like ourselves and our clients, it's not that easy.
Is the world ready for Twitter diplomacy?
Well, you know, there is the debate here. Some people here believe that, you know, times have changed, that you and I are old farts in the sense that we look at things through traditional eyes, and maybe Twitter diplomacy works. I mean, short attention spans. 142 characters seems to work. So it certainly wins campaigns, but whether that's the reality, some people believe that's a style that will work. Maybe the pace of things is so great. Now, you know, Modi is a wonderful communicator. He's at the top of the tree, along with people like Macri, in terms of turning a country round psychologically, communicating, and in Modi's case, delivering. I mean, our business in India last year went through $600 million of revenue, and I think this year, even in our budgets, we're approaching 700 million. So
Has demonetization impacted your business?
Actually, the answer to that is no. I mean, a little bit of a stutter, but relatively no. I mean, if we were doing as well in the rest of the world as we are in India, I've said this before, I could retire. Everybody would cheer when I was going off and sitting on some beach or on top of some mountain somewhere.
So how are you preparing yourself for a post-Brexit era?
Well, for us, it's difficult because 4 of our top 10 markets, Germany is number 4, France is number 6, Italy is number 9, Spain is number 10. So I have no choice. We have 4 of our top 10 markets are in those countries. They're key EU markets, and EU itself is an important market for us, if you like. So we've paradoxically, or counter to what you might think, we've actually increased our activity in EU. I mean, it's the reverse effect. At the same time, because of these bilateral opportunities that the UK will have post-Brexit, you know, if we are going to become a new Singapore, low tax rates, you know, a competitive environment, and by the way, our country survey, right, where we surveyed 60 countries last year, and UK came 3rd. I can give you a sneak preview of 2017, the UK will be 3rd again, but with improved ratings, interestingly. There'll be a change at the top. Germany was top last year. I won't say who comes off here. Number 2 was Canada, which was last year, remain 2nd. But what's interesting, UK strength, and its image is very strong, very strong. So there's a good sort of competitive but clearly we have to penetrate the BRIC markets, including India, more effectively. And talking to Liam Fox, who also came here with the Prime Minister and Chancellor, there are some big opportunities for Britain, particularly given the fact that sterling is devalued by some 14 or 15%.
So let me end by asking you, what would the headline be for 2017?
Goodness knows. I give up out of the forecasting business. I think 17 will be similar to 16, actually, at the end of the day. But the US dynamic will improve, and the rest of the world becomes even more of an enigma, with perhaps more instability in Europe.
Well, Martin Sorrell, thanks
Thank
very
you,
much
Shireen.
for joining
Thank you
us.
very much.
Appreciate your time.
Good.
Thanks very
Thank
much. Thank you.
It is time for us to take a short break. When we return, we speak to Mark Earls, or the 3rd Mister, on why people should not take planning too seriously.